Hello there, and welcome to Sleep Science 360. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Maybe the day felt a little long, or maybe you're simply the kind of person who falls asleep more easily to gentle thoughts and the quiet mystery of the natural world. Either way, this moment is for you. You don't need to do anything now. Just let your breath settle, let your shoulders soften, and feel your body grow a little lighter, as if the weight of the day is loosening grain by grain. Because tonight, we're not drifting into the stars. Tonight, we're wandering somewhere even closer, somewhere older, quieter, and more patient than almost anything else on Earth. We're stepping into the soft world of trees, the tall, slow beings that breathe with the planet, the ones that stood long before us and will stand long after we're gone. A forest of stories, 1,000 tiny miracles hidden in bark and rings and roots. A world where time moves in centuries instead of minutes, and where every leaf seems to whisper the same thought: rest now. You're safe beneath the canopy. And as you settle in, we'll drift through 100 sleepy facts about trees, gentle truths, and quiet wonders to help your mind loosen and your night unfold. You arrive here with a quiet kind of tiredness, the kind that settles behind your eyes and asks for something gentle. The room around you softens as your breath becomes slow and even. The night doesn't hurry you. It never does. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. There's a steadiness in this moment, a small clearing in the day where sound grows distant and thoughts move like drifting leaves. You can rest now, low and warm. The story tonight unfolds like a forest path, unhurried, shaded, patient. A path that carries you into the world of trees, those silent companions of the earth. This is where your night begins. Somewhere outside your window, a tree stands in the dark. Its branches barely move, just enough to remind you that even stillness can breathe. And as you lie here, your body grows a little heavier into the bed, like roots finding soft soil. You can rest now, slow and low. A simple truth drifts toward you first. Trees have lived on this planet for more than 385 million years, holding their place through ages of oceans rising and continents drifting. That's your first gentle fact. Just a shape of time, not a lesson. Another truth joins it just as soft. Some of the oldest trees alive today have watched over the world for more than 4,000 years, anchoring themselves through storms, seasons, and entire human histories passing like wind. And somewhere in that thought, your mind begins to stretch out quietly, curious, in a safe way, drifting toward the long, slow memory of the earth. The night deepens around you, like shade under a wide branch. The forest in your imagination takes form now, lightless, not dark, peaceful. Trunks rise like ancient pillars, bark cool and textured under the faint brushing of your attention. A softness spreads inside your chest. You can rest now, and as you breathe, the first loop of calm settles into place, wrapping the world in a gentler rhythm. Somewhere light continues to travel, even though you are slowing down. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. Your body smooths into this calm, following the breath, like a leaf following a slow current. A forest floor underfoot comes into focus, soft soil, faint scent of earth, a feeling of safety older than language. This is where the mind finds comfort without searching. Another layer of truth arrives, simple and steady. A tree pulls water upward from its roots, sometimes rising more than 100 feet toward its highest leaves. A patient climb that takes place drop by drop. You imagine that rise gentle and slow like your breath traveling through you. The second fact comes in quietly. A leaf held to light is only a few millimeters thick, yet it carries the delicate machinery that lets a tree gather sunlight and turn it into life. And this tiny thought creates a soft spark of curiosity, a safe one, barely above a whisper. Your body loosens a little more. The muscles in your jaw unclench. Your hands fall into more comfortable positions without needing to be guided. You can rest now, warm and slow. Somewhere in the forest of your mind, the air cools slightly. Not cold, just a temperature that invites stillness. The sense of bark beneath your fingers grows more textured ridges, grooves, a history you can feel without needing to understand. The night holds you like a quiet canopy, and as your breath deepens, the forest broadens too. You don't walk through it, you drift. The ground beneath you softens. Leaves cushion, each imagined step, muted and low, barely a sound at all. The transition happens without effort, and as you breathe, the forest seems to unfurl around you, slow as dawn. Even the trees lean in slightly as if listening. Not to words, just to presence. Your mind enters a softer space somewhere between attention and drifting thought. In this place, time loosens. The minutes slow, and you can rest now. A new calm rises in the background, like a low wind humming against trunks. Another gentle fact emerges. A tree takes in carbon from the air and releases oxygen. In return, a quiet exchange that keeps the world balanced breath by breath. It's a peaceful kind of symmetry. And here is the second fact of this loop. A mature tree can shelter hundreds of species, from insects to birds to mosses, each living in small worlds, layered across bark, branches, and soil. This thought creates a soft glow of curiosity, not bright, not stirring, just enough to let the story continue. You feel it now, your body sinking deeper into the bed, your chest rising and falling with a slow, wider rhythm. You can rest now, low and still. The forest within you shifts into a new image, a clearing bathed in faint silver light, like early evening after a warm day. You step into it, not by moving your legs, but by letting your awareness drift a little farther into imagination. Trees encircle you tall and quiet their silhouettes, holding the shape of safety. Nothing approaches, nothing disturbs. Everything simply stands. The air carries the scent of wood, softened by time. Your shoulders ease, your breath lengthens. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. This clearing becomes a gentle anchor for your night, a place your thoughts can return to whenever they need calm. A circle of stillness, shaped by trunks and leaves and age. Your heartbeat slows to match it. You can rest now. Somewhere above the canopy, the sky opens wide. You don't need to see it clearly. Just the sense of openness is enough, like stepping under a branch and finding a pocket of cool evening air waiting for you. Your imagination moves with the slow patience of trees now. Minutes pass like shifting shadows. Thoughts rise and fall like distant breezes. The forest becomes less a place you picture and more a feeling that fills the spaces inside you. Another gentle fact drifts downward. Tree roots often grow as wide as the branches above, forming a hidden mirror of the crown beneath the soil. This quiet symmetry feels soothing, as if balance is woven into the earth itself. Another truth follows softly. Some trees release seeds, shaped to float on the wind, traveling tens or even hundreds of feet, letting the air decide where new life will begin. This brings a soft spark of wonder light and harmless like a dandelion seed drifting across your memory. Your breath is slow. Your body is heavy. You can rest now. And as you breathe, the clearing expands into a soft field of darkness and gentle shapes. A forest at night is not empty. It is full of quiet, full of small movements that lull rather than stir. Each tree holds its place with still certainty. Each leaf rests. Even the wind seems to move carefully, as though not wanting to wake anything. You settle deeper into your own stillness. Somewhere in the distance of imagination, a single large tree rises taller than the rest. Its bark is silvered. Its branches arc outward like open arms. This tree becomes the center of the forest, the place your attention returns to gently, like a tide easing back and forth. You stand near it not to observe, not to understand, just to be close, just to feel the steadiness and age that radiates from its trunk. A soft warmth moves through your chest. You can rest now. And then comes another calm loop, quiet, as the rustle of a small animal passing through undergrowth. A fact drifts in first. Trees grow in rings, each marking a year, each storing the memory of seasons, warmth, drought, rainfall, all held in layers beneath the bark. This is slow memory, not something to analyze, just a gentle image of time moving in circles. The second truth arrives like a whisper. Some forests breathe out tiny particles that drift into the air and form faint hazes over the canopy, softening sunlight and cooling the land. For now, it's simply an image light, mingling with air drifting like mist. A tiny spark of gentle curiosity follows as light as dew on leaves. You drift deeper. The boundaries of your imagination blur softly. The edges of the clearing fade into shadows that comfort rather than conceal. The night around you becomes the forest. The forest becomes the night around you. Your breath loops through your body, slow as rings in wood. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The great tree before you stands as quiet reassurance. Its shadow covers the ground like a smooth blanket of dusk. You feel its presence settle into you, low and steady. You can rest now, warm and slow. Somewhere at the edge of awareness, a faint sound rises, a rustle, a shift, maybe just the echo of your own breathing, woven with the forest's quiet. Nothing moves toward you. Everything stays where it belongs. The forest holds its shape. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. This final loop of the part settles into the slow rhythm of sleep science, a steady descent guiding you from wakefulness into the early drift. The images grow softer, the details dim, the feeling remains. A simple fact arrives gentle as a falling leaf. A single tree can drink tens of gallons of water in a day, yet it rises through the trunk silently, almost reverently. You imagine that slow rise like water moving through a calm river, and a second truth follows like a soft footstep. Tree canopies create their own small climates, cool pockets of air sheltered from heat and wind, places where life slows down naturally. This thought brings one more tiny spark of curiosity, then fades like a ripple smoothing out on a pond. Your body settles with it. Your breath softens. The clearing grows dimmer, quieter, more spacious. You can rest now. Low, warm, slow, and as you breathe, The canopy closes gently overhead, like a curtain drawn across the sky. The forest, the night, and your breath fall into a single rhythm. There is nothing to follow, nothing to solve, only the slow settling of the world within you. You drift in the shape of trees still rooted patient, wrapped in shadows that soothe rather than hide. And the night deepens its promise. You are safe, you are steady, you are held. We move together now, slowly, as though stepping into a deeper layer of night. The forest you drifted into in the first part doesn't disappear. It simply spreads quietly, patiently, like breath expanding into the ribs. Our presence here is light, almost weightless. Nothing stirs, nothing rises. The air waits with us. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. We are surrounded by trunks that rise in long, simple lines, each one shaped by centuries of wind and weather. A faint glow settles through the leaves overhead, not bright enough to see clearly, just enough to feel the suggestion of shape and height. It creates a sense of being held in gentle space. It's okay to drift. We continue along a path, made not of decisions but of calm. Each step the mind takes is softer than the last. The forest doesn't guide us. It simply allows us. And in this, allowing our breath grows deeper, steadier, warmer. A shared quiet gathers around us, like low fog resting on the ground. A simple truth comes to rest at our feet. Some forests have stood in the same place for thousands of years, renewing themselves generation after generation, forming living tapestries older than entire civilizations. It is a soft fact, one that invites wonder without waking anything. Another truth drifts above it. Every tree, no matter how tall, begins as a seed small enough to rest on a fingertip, carrying the quiet blueprint of its future rings within a delicate shell. This thought opens a faint spark of curiosity, gentle as moonlight on bark. The night around us deepens, but grows kinder, not darker. A layer of warmth settles over the landscape as though the forest exhaled and wrapped us in its breath. It's okay to drift. We move through a stretch of trees whose branches weave overhead like long interlaced fingers. The canopy thickens, softening sound until even our imagined footsteps fade into nothing. The sensation is not silence, but a hush, one shaped by moss leaves and centuries of growth. The body relaxes into that hush, slowly at first, then with growing trust. And as we breathe, a gentle transition carries us deeper into the grove. Somewhere, light continues its ancient travel across the sky. A clearing appears again, but a different one this time, wider, more open. Its boundary is formed by tall, straight trunks, each spaced evenly, as though placed by intention. We step into it together, not to explore, but to experience the softness of space. It's okay to drift. We settle into another calm loop. A quiet fact rises like a windless dawn. The tallest trees on Earth, today the great redwoods, reach heights of more than 350 feet, climbing toward the sky with a patience that spans centuries. This isn't a number meant to impress, only to offer scale, a gentle, vertical drift for the mind. The second truth glows beneath it. Beneath the forest floor, microscopic threads connect many trees together, allowing them to share resources and signals silently across the soil. For now, it's just a soft idea. Roots touching roots, a web of quiet cooperation. A spark of curiosity follows light and harmless as a drifting seed. Shadows slide across the clearing in smooth, unbroken shapes. Branches sway in slow arcs, moving as though underwater. The air cools slightly, and the forest's scent grows richer wood-leaf soil, something faintly sweet. It's okay to drift. We stand near a trunk so wide that resting a hand upon it would feel like touching history itself. Its bark carries ridges worn into smoothness. By time, each groove, a reminder of seasons layered upon seasons. We breathe with it. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. As our awareness settles, the surrounding trees seem to lean back, giving us space. The night air quiets further, becoming thick with calm. We can sense the weight of centuries above and below us, not heavy, just grounding, like standing beneath a slow-flowing river of time. It's okay to drift. A barely there breeze flows through the clearing, brushing against leaves with a sound like soft fabric. This becomes the forest's gentle voice, low, soothing, continuous. A comfort moves through us, subtle but present, like warmth rising from cupped hands. A new calm loop forms around us. A fact arrives on that small wind. Some trees can live at elevations more than 1,000 feet above sea level, where the air thins and temperatures fall, yet they endure quietly year after year. A simple shape of resilience, nothing more. The second truth follows at a slower pace. Leaves on certain trees can capture sunlight even in the dimmest hours of morning, gathering energy from the faintest hint of day. This idea softens into a spark of gentle wonder. Our breath falls into rhythm, with the forest again in and out, slow as shadows drifting across roots. It's okay to drift. The clearing shifts subtly, as though the trees around us have grown a little taller or stepped a little closer, rearranging the boundaries of the scene. In forests, stillness often moves this way quietly, without drawing attention. The mind follows these movements, like a leaf follows a calm current. The night expands overhead. The canopy thins in places, revealing glimpses of a sky muted by the haze of distant starlight. We don't look up. We simply feel the openness above the gentle dome of night holding us. And as we breathe, the world sinks into an even softer gradient of dark. Somewhere in that gradient, time stretches. Minutes loosen. Thoughts become buoyant, rising and falling without urgency. A long thread of comfort drapes across the moment. It's okay to drift. We move slowly out of the clearing now. Ahead, the forest forms a corridor, shaped by leaning trunks, each one angled like a bowing guardian. Moss coats their bases thick and velvety, holding tiny pockets of cool air within. A faint silver glow hovers in the distance, as though moonlight rests on water. The corridor narrows until we walk almost single file, not because the path requires it, but because the mind has grown quiet enough to slip through small spaces without effort. The forest breathes around us, long and low, like the ocean turning in slow motion. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Here comes another gentle loop. A soft truth finds us in this narrow space. Many trees grow not straight upward, but toward the direction of the strongest light, bending their trunks in graceful arcs over time. This is the slow dance of growth, a movement we feel rather than see. Another truth follows. The rings inside a tree can reveal patterns of ancient weather, holding traces of years long before our earliest stories. This idea glows briefly, then fades like a distant ember. A spark of curiosity shimmers gently. We reach the end of the corridor, and the forest widens again. Not into a clearing this time, but into a grove shaped like a shallow bowl, its floor covered in layers of soft fallen needles. Every step sinks, slightly cushioned by decades of quiet fall. The scent sharpens, fresh, woody clean. It's okay to drift. A tree in the center rises taller than the others, but not towering, just quietly significant. Its branches spread wide, creating a natural ceiling that filters the faint glow above. We approach without hurry, drawn by something steady and familiar. The grove's temperature drops a little, not cold, but calm, like the air inside an old library. Our breath grows slower. Our weight shifts downward. The body loosens around the spine, softening muscles that carried the day. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. A comforting heaviness settles in the chest, and limbs the kind that comes just before sleep begins to gather along the edges of awareness. We remain in this grove, letting the moment settle without needing to shape it. Another calm loop settles into place. A fact reaches us from the far edges of memory. On average, trees grow only a few inches each year, layering time in increments so small they can go unnoticed for seasons. This is slowness made visible. The second truth unfolds beside it. Some trees release scents when brushed by wind or touched by sunlight, aromas that drift through the air and settle into soil, bark, and leaf. A soft spark of curiosity brightens, then fades in to the forest's hush. The trees around us become silhouettes, now dark, tall, and unmoving. Their presence is steady, like guardians of a story older than memory. The night thickens, but remains gentle, wrapped in muted colors and softened edges. It's okay to drift. We lower ourselves, not physically, but in awareness, closer to the forest floor. Here the needles create a soft bed, layered and warm. The ground gives slightly under our weight, as though welcoming us into its long, slow patience. The great tree at the center remains our anchor. Its roots reach deep beneath the soil, unseen but sensed, holding the grove in place through seasons of wind and rain. We settle beside it the way tired thoughts settle beside calm ones. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The air around us becomes still, as if the entire grove is holding its breath for a long, peaceful moment. Nothing shifts, nothing calls. Even the wind has lowered its voice. The forest and the night merge into one continuous field of calm. A warmth gathers at the edges of consciousness, a feeling of being held not by hands, but by presence. The presence of trees, the presence of time, the presence of something enduring and patient. It's okay to drift, slow and warm and low. It settles around the grove like a breath held by the world. The trees stand in long, steady silhouettes, unmoving, yet deeply alive beneath their. A quiet hum fills the space between trunks, not a sound, exactly more. A sense like the faint vibration of something old remembering itself. It drifts through the air like a thin mist. It's okay to drift low and slow. The grove becomes a bowl of stillness. Every branch holds its place with gentle certainty, as if arranged by time rather than wind. The air cools along the forest floor, sliding between roots like a slow river of night. Each breath becomes deeper without effort. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It begins to feel as though the trees themselves are observing the quiet, listening to the soft rhythm of night settling into their leaves. Not watching, not thinking, just witnessing in the slow way that life with centuries learns to be present. It's okay to drift. A calm loop begins to rise like low fog around the trunks. A simple truth moves through the grove first. Leaves can capture sunlight in just a fraction of a second, storing it quietly until the tree is ready to use it. It's not a process to learn, just a gentle moment of light resting inside green. Another truth follows softer. The tallest branches sway only a few inches, even in strong breezes held steady by thousands of fibers braided through their wood. This becomes a faint spark of curiosity, subtle, drifting safe. The grove grows darker and more spacious. The trunks fade into silhouettes, and the branches dissolve into soft patterns against the night. The air seems to thicken, slightly warm in some pockets, cool in others, like quiet layers of breath. It's okay to drift warm and slow. In this low darkness, the sound of leaves begins to take shape. Not crisp, not sharp, just a distant, softened rustle, like the whisper of cloth brushing gently against itself. It flows in long waves, a sound so calm it feels woven into the deeper sleep science of the forest, the natural lull of ecosystems unwinding at night. It moves around the grove, circling the trunks in a slow spiral. No rhythm, no pattern, just continuous softness. The forest breathes with it. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The great tree at the center stands tall, though in the dim light it appears more like a gentle pillar than a living giant. Its roots form soft mounds beneath the needles, shaping the ground as though sculpted by centuries of quiet persistence. It's okay to drift. The forest expands outward again, creating long corridors of shadow and faint light. Between the trees, small pockets of stillness gather, places where even the air seems to pause, waiting for the next gentle movement. Here nothing rushes. Here nothing demands attention. A new calm loop forms like the slow turning of seasons. A soft fact descends with the hush of the leaves. Some tree roots reach hundreds of feet outward, weaving beneath the ground in hidden patterns that hold soil together and guide water through the earth. It is a gentle architecture, unseen but steady. Another truth rests beside it. A forest scent shifts after rainfall, releasing tiny compounds that rise into the air and create the unmistakable aroma of fresh earth. This soft detail glimmers in the mind for a moment, before dissolving into darkness. A quiet spark of curiosity fades with it. The sounds grow deeper now. Longer rustles, low hums, faint wooden creaks that echo miles away. Not loud, just present. As though the forest is slowly turning in its sleep, adjusting branches, settling roots. It's okay to drift low and warm. The night air drapes itself across the grove like a wide, soft blanket. Under this layer, every detail blurs into a gentle gradient shadows, merging with trunks, branches dissolving into sky. Nothing stands out sharply anymore. Everything softens. It feels as though the forest itself is moving not with steps or motion, but with a collective shift of presence. The trees seem to lean closer, sharing their slow, patient rhythm. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The clearing fades behind. A new path opens ahead, a valley of quiet between two rising slopes of forest. The air grows cooler as the land dips downward. The scent of moss intensifies, carrying faint sweetness. It's okay to drift. A thin stream appears, barely visible, only sensed by the way sound changes near it. A low shimmer, like water, moving over stones too small to disturb the surface. The trees around it grow denser, their roots curving gently toward moisture. The quiet deepens until even the stream becomes a single continuous tone, not flowing, not stopping, just humming softly. A calm loop settles across this valley. A gentle fact rises. Some trees release moisture through their leaves, creating cool pockets of air that drift downward like invisible rain. It is a slow, quiet offering to the atmosphere. Another truth follows in a whisper. A single fallen log can support dozens of new plants, becoming a soft bridge of life as it slowly fades back into soil. A spark of curiosity drifts like dust through moonlight. The valley feels like a cradle, now tall slopes on either side, holding the air in balanced stillness. The sound of the stream becomes deeper, almost a lullaby woven into the land. The trees lean inward, forming a natural archway overhead. It's okay to drift slow and low. Leaves shift above, creating faint patterns of movement. The night breeze moves differently, here not directional, but circular, spiraling gently through the valley as though following an unseen path. With each spiral, the mind softens a little more. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. As the valley widens, the forest floor changes texture. Soft needles give way to damp earth, cool and dense. Moss covers stones in thick layers, muffling every imagined footstep, turning the world quieter with each movement. The forest begins to hum in the low register of night, a mix of wind-distant branches shifting and the slow settling of temperature across thousands of leaves. The sound would be too faint to notice in daylight, but here it becomes a soft choir, a steady presence just beneath awareness. It's okay to drift. A long, slow, calm loop forms in this deeper darkness. A fact drifts into the undercurrent. In winter, some trees slow their inner processes to a pace almost still conserving energy in a quiet that lasts for months. This gentle stillness mirrors the night. A second truth follows. In warm regions, certain trees remain green year-round, allowing tiny exchanges of air and sunlight even in the darkest seasons. A faint spark of curiosity shimmers like dew. The hum grows rounder, more encompassing. It feels like the forest is breathing in wide, slow circles. The air vibrates softly, a sensation more than a sound. The valley grows dark enough that even the nearby trees become outlines of deeper black. It's okay to drift low and warm. The forest shifts again, subtle, gradual, instinctive. A slight movement in the canopy changes how sound moves through branches. A faint creak echoes. A whisper of leaves follows. Then the air settles again. In the dimness, the great tree from the grove feels distant, but still connected, like a lighthouse of stillness, somewhere behind or ahead. Its memory stays with the night. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The valley narrows once more. The trees grow closer, their trunks tilting inward at gentle angles. It becomes a corridor of shadows, tall and dark and warm, where sound travels slowly and light is too soft to disturb darkness. A comfort settles across the moment like a low mist. It's okay to drift. A calm loop begins again. A soft fact rests against the darkness. Certain seeds can sleep in soil for years or even decades before waking into new life. A quiet patience shaped by time. Another truth nestles beneath it. Fallen leaves form layers that protect the earth below, keeping moisture in place and cooling the ground. A tiny spark of curiosity dissolves into the air. The corridor leads to a rise in the land, a hill gentle and broad forming a natural bench beneath the trees. The breeze climbs with us, softening as it touches trunks and branches. The hum of the forest lowers again into a warm vibration. It's okay to drift. Halfway up the hill, a wide trunk stands like an ancient sentinel. Its bark catches faint threads of light, revealing long vertical grooves worn smooth by centuries of wind. Each groove holds a different story of time, but the night asks nothing of it. It simply stands, steady, quiet, patient. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. At the top of the hill, the forest opens slightly. Not a clearing, not a meadow, just a softer space where the canopy lifts enough to let in a pale wash of sky glow. The air becomes lighter, the hum becomes deeper, the mind becomes quieter. It's okay to drift warm and low. The night gathers all around. The forest breathes with slow confidence. The valley recedes into darkness, and the hill becomes a resting place where the trees seem to lean closer, as if sheltering the space without closing it. The calm settles fully now. The leaves above shift once, twice, then fall into stillness. No breeze follows, just the hush of branches resting. And in this hush, a final truth for this part drifts like a leaf floating down. Trees reshape the air around them, creating gentle layers of temperature and scent that guide nighttime animals through the forest. Another truth joins it softly. In certain seasons, forest nights glow faintly as small organisms on bark and leaf give off light, forming almost invisible halos in the darkness. A single spark of curiosity fades like warm embers. The hum lowers one last time, blending with the breath of the forest. The hill grows warmer, softer a place, shaped not by movement, but by presence. The trees hold their positions, the air settles, the night deepens into a single unified calm. It's okay to drift, slow, warm, low, into the long patience of the forest. It settles deeper now, as though the forest has lowered itself another inch into the night. The hill behind fades into a soft darkness, and the valley becomes a memory shaped from quiet air. Only the trees remain slow pillars of presence, rising through layers of shadow. A gentle heaviness spreads across the forest floor, not weight, not pressure, just a warm stillness settling into soil. It's okay to drift low and warm. The canopy overhead stretches in long, sweeping arcs. Every branch holds its breath. Every leaf rests in a posture of calm. Somewhere, a distant tree creaks softly as its trunk adjusts to the cooling air. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It feels as though the forest has entered a deeper register. Sounds lower air, thicker shadows softer. The night grows quieter with each passing moment, until even the smallest movements become part of a wider hush. It's okay to drift. The path ahead disappears into a gentle slope covered in layers of fallen leaves. They shift beneath the feet of thought, creating the faintest suggestion of movement, a soft, muted sound like breath against fabric. The air carries the fresh scent of earth, wood, and distant moisture. The forest becomes a cradle shaped by roots and wind. A calm loop begins beneath the canopy. A simple fact joins the stillness. Roots can extend 2 to 4 times the height of a tree, weaving through soil in quiet patterns that resemble maps of ancient rivers. No need to imagine it clearly, just a soft awareness of hidden networks below. Another truth follows gently. Some tree roots grow upward toward the surface before turning back down, forming elegant curves that help them breathe in dense soil. This detail creates a spark of curiosity, dim, drifting, harmless. It's okay to drift low and quiet. The slope descends into a darker hollow where branches arch overhead like ceilings in an old cathedral. The air cools noticeably here, flowing across the skin of thought like soft water. A faint echo of wind moves through the hollow deep and slow shaping the space with long breaths. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The ground becomes smoother beneath the imagined steps, cushioned by years of needles, layered into a soft mat. The hollow narrows until the trees form tall walls on either side, their trunks rising like ancient columns. This is a place where sound travels slowly, forced to weave between wood and shadow. It's okay to drift. The hollow continues until it opens into a round basin, wide and shallow, filled with warm, unmoving darkness. Here, the air feels thick, as though dusk has pooled into liquid stillness. The basin floor is cool, almost velvet-like. Beneath layers of earth and root, the presence of trees grows heavier, steadying, grounding, patient. Another calm loop forms in the basin. A gentle fact settles inward. Some roots grow more than a foot per year, exploring soil grain by grain, seeking moisture and space with slow intention. Not a fact to hold, just a breath shaped from time. A second truth echoes beneath it. Certain forests hold their soil in place so effectively that entire hills remain unmoved for centuries, stabilized by the patient grip of roots. A spark of curiosity glows faintly like moss catching moonlight. It's okay to drift warm and steady. The basin becomes a soft chamber of sound. Every rustle seems to come from far away, smoothed by distance and layers of branches. A chorus of faint creaks and shifting bark fills the space with a slow, rhythmic pulse, the forest's nocturnal heartbeat. One long, low breath moves through the trees. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The night deepens further still. Edges blur, shapes dissolve. Only texture remains: the coolness of air, the warmth of soil, the low hum rising from unseen roots. It feels as though the forest is leaning inward, collecting the drifting thoughts into its quiet. Not to keep them, not to change them, only to hold them gently in stillness. It's okay to drift. The basin slopes downward into a narrow channel, almost hidden beneath fallen branches. Here, the roots rise closer to the surface, forming knotted shapes that resemble the curves of rivers frozen in time. The ground becomes uneven in the most calming way. Small rises, subtle dips, textures that guide attention downward, softer, slower. A calm loop forms in this hidden passage. A soft fact rises with the night air. Some forests store vast amounts of water in their soil, held gently by roots that soak and release moisture through the seasons. This becomes a calming image, coolness held deep beneath warmth. Another truth unfolds behind it. Trees can sense changes in the soil around them, responding slowly to shifts in moisture or nutrients, adjusting their growth in quiet patience. A spark of curiosity softens and fades. It's okay to drift low and slow. As the channel widens, the roots begin to reveal more of their hidden shapes. Some twist around stones, some rise in arcs, some form natural bridges across gentle dips in the earth. The forest floor becomes a tapestry of texture, woven from centuries of growth. The trees above stand motionless, tall silhouettes, merging with a sky that holds no stars, only a faint, silvery glow without a source. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Far ahead, a faint shimmer of light appears. Not bright, not sharp, just a soft haze resting at ground level. As the channel leads toward it, the air grows warmer, thicker, almost like a gentle breath exhaled from the soil itself. It's okay to drift. A new calm loop unfurls. A fact drifts like dust across still air. In deep forests, roots often interlock so tightly that they form continuous mats beneath entire hillsides, binding the ground into one living body. This quiet connection feels grounding. Another truth rests behind it. Some roots grow in spiral patterns, turning slowly as they deepen, creating graceful shapes hidden from sight. A small spark of curiosity glitters, then disappears. It's okay to drift warm and deep. The shimmering haze spreads across the ground as the path widens into another shallow bowl. Misty air hangs low, moving only when touched by the faintest breeze slipping between trunks. The mist glows slightly, reflecting the little ambient light that filters through the canopy. The effect is gentle, dreamlike. In this bowl, roots rise like soft, curving sculptures, smooth in some places, knotted in others, forming gentle arches, half circles, and spirals. The ground feels warm in certain patches, cool in others, as though temperature flows differently beneath the surface. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The sound changes here. A low resonance hums beneath the earth, carrying through the souls of thought rather than through ears. It is the quiet pulse of the forest, not literal, not loud, just present. A grounding vibration. It's okay to drift. The bowl widens until the trees form a circular wall, their trunks rising like tall candles of shadow. The air inside the circle stills. Nothing disturbs it. Not even the smallest leaf falls. The trees stand guard around this quiet. Their roots interlock beneath the soil in complex, ancient patterns. The ground feels connected to itself, a single, unbroken surface woven from time. A calm loop rises again. A gentle fact settles into the air. Roots can communicate slow signals across the ground, not in words or sounds, but in simple responses to moisture minerals and shared conditions. Just a quiet exchange beneath silence. Another truth emerges like mist through branches. In old forests, root systems can persist for hundreds of years, supporting new growth. Even after older trunks have fallen, a spark of curiosity glows faintly, then fades. It's okay to drift, slow and warm. The air becomes thicker, softer, like a blanket absorbing stray movement. Shadows lengthen until they merge seamlessly into the trunks they fall from. The bowl feels sacred, not in any mystical sense, but in a way shaped by quiet endurance, predictable presence, and slow memory. It feels like a place where time itself moves differently, less forward, more downward, settling into layers of earth, the way leaves settle under winter frost. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The center of the bowl glows with a whispered light, not enough to illuminate, only enough to guide. The forest seems to exhale one long, slow breath. The mist shifts. The leaves sigh. A branch creaks somewhere in the darkness. It's okay to drift. Here, roots and soil create a gentle heaviness, a softness that pulls awareness downward into warmth. The ground feels safe, old, patient, an anchor beneath the drifting night. The quiet deepens to the point where even imagination slows its movements, each thought unfolding like a leaf opening in spring. The air becomes still as held breath. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. Another calm loop forms the last of this part. A fact settles like dust. Some forests grow on millennia-old soil, layers upon layers of root leaf and earth-forming tapestries older than memory. This becomes a gentle picture. Another truth softens the darkness. Roots help shape the temperature of the ground, keeping it cool in summer and warm in winter, creating stable pockets of life. A final spark of curiosity drifts upward, then dissolves like mist. The forest holds everything in soft suspension. Trunks stand steady. Roots rest deeply. Night folds itself around each branch and leaf. The bowl of earth becomes a place of quiet arrival. It's okay to drift, warm, slow, low, into the deeper patience beneath the quiet earth. It rises gently from the bowl of earth, the forest reshaping itself in long, slow motions that never disturb the night. So, the mist thins as the air warms by a degree or two, a shift so small it feels like breath easing through the canopy. Branches arch overhead in widening circles, creating a ceiling of layered silhouettes. The world grows softer, quieter, more continuous, like a single exhale stretched across miles of trees. It's okay to drift warm and low. The trunks around the bowl stand straighter here, their bark catching whatever light the night has left. Grain, groove, and age blend into a textured darkness that invites calm rather than attention. A faint rustling travels through the branches, long and slow, shaped by a breeze, too gentle to feel, but strong enough to shift the forest's breath. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The path ahead rises slightly, revealing the shapes of branches that hang lower than before, broad limbs, weighted by centuries of growth. They hover just above the imagined reach of your fingers, brushing the faint air with the quiet grace of drifting fabric. It's okay to drift. A calm loop forms at this height. A soft fact settles through the branches. Some limbs can weigh several tons, yet remain balanced by the strength of the trunk and the hidden architecture within the wood. This becomes a gentle image weight, held with silent stability. Another truth follows thinner and lighter. Branches grow toward light in slow arcs, adjusting their angles over months and years to catch the faintest edge of brightness. A tiny spark of curiosity flickers at this idea, then settles back into stillness. The branches shift overhead again, stretching, easing, moving with a slowness shaped by temperature falling across the forest. Each shift creates a soft creak, deep wooden and comforting, like old floorboards settling after a long day. The sound travels far, echoing through unseen corridors between trees. It's okay to drift slow and warm. The forest begins to lean into auditory shape rustles, layered with deeper tones. The near silence of needles, drifting the hum of distant trunks adjusting. Every sound is softened by the night wrapped in layers of shadow that make even movement feel gentle. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The path curves to the right, brushing past low branches that sway in unison. They move like a quiet choir, their leaves brushing one another in long, shimmering strokes. The air beneath them grows slightly warmer, held between broad limbs like a pocket of night that refuses to cool. The forest becomes a long, slow breath held beneath stars. It's okay to drift. A new calm loop spreads across the branches. A soft fact descends like dust on bark. Some trees can support tens of thousands of leaves at once, each leaf moving gently with the slightest shift of wind. The scale is calming, not overwhelming. Another truth follows. As branches extend outward, they balance their weight by growing thicker where stress is greatest, adjusting to gravity, millimeter by millimeter across years. This creates a faint spark of curiosity, safe, soft drifting. The canopy widens above, revealing thin spaces between branches where a dim wash of sky glow filters through. It is not bright enough to show detail, only enough to form soft gradients across the forest ceiling. The night feels open yet sheltered, expansive yet warm. The branches seem closer than before, but not in a pressing way. More like guardians, leaning gently over the path, steadying the air. The forest's patience becomes the ground beneath each slow breath. It's okay to drift low and loose. A deeper sound forms somewhere ahead, a long, wavering wooden note created when a heavy limb shifts its angle a fraction of an inch. The sound is slow, warm, almost musical. It echoes once, then melts into silence. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The path leads into a grove where the branches intertwine overhead, forming a woven canopy that feels almost like shelter. The air inside is warmer, thicker, carrying the faint scent of sap and dry wood. It feels like walking into a place that has been resting for a very long time, untouched by urgency. It's okay to drift. Another calm loop forms. A gentle fact arrives. A limb can take years to recover from damage, slowly redirecting its growth to strengthen weak points. Not a process of pain, just slow repair, shaped by time. Another truth rests beside it. Branches in old forests often grow in spirals or arcs shaped by countless seasons of wind, turning them 1 degree at a time. A spark of curiosity glimmers and fades. The grove deepens into a dome of branches. They overlap in layers, forming concentric rings of shadow that shift subtly when touched by the night breeze. Every layer creates a different texture of sound. Low rustles near the trunk, softer whispers near the tips, faint murmurs higher up. Each sound is spaced just far enough apart to feel like its own breath. The air cools slightly as the breeze moves through, brushing across the canopy before descending toward the forest floor. It drifts along the skin of awareness, like the first hint of sleep touching thought. It's okay to drift warm and slow. The trees stand in gentle formation, their limbs reaching toward one another, forming long, sweeping arches overhead. It feels like an ancient hall, carved not from stone, but from patience and time. The branches sway in slow, rhythmic patterns, each movement measured by the cooling of night. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Toward the far edge of the grove, a massive branch stretches outward so long it forms a natural arch above the ground. Its underside is smooth, and curved, flowing like a line drawn by centuries of wind. It casts a shadow that feels rooted, stable, endless. The air beneath it feels cooler, held by the curve. It's okay to drift. A final calm loop for this part settles over the branch. A soft fact emerges. Branches often grow thicker near their base, reinforcing themselves with layers of wood that hold the entire crown steady. This becomes an image of quiet support. Another truth follows gently. A single large limb can store years of sunlight held inside its rings, as warmth and energy that moves slowly through the tree. A thin spark of curiosity drifts upward like rising sap. The grove quiets once more. The branches ease into stillness. Leaves settle into soft positions, catching the faintest shimmer of sky glow. Every motion becomes slower. Every shadow becomes deeper. Every breath becomes wider. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The forest settles again, folding itself around the path like a blanket woven from branches and air. Shadows move only when the breeze does, and even then, they drift like thought, dissolving into sleep. The canopy curves gently, holding the night in place. It's okay to drift, warm, low, slow, beneath the quiet weight of branches. It begins with a thinning of darkness, a gentle shift in the air as faint light gathers along the edges of the canopy. Not sunlight, not moonlight, just the soft luminance that forests release when the night has grown old and quiet. It spreads through the branches like a slow exhale, tracing outlines in muted gold. The air feels warmer here, as if held between layers of leaves that have stored the memory of daytime warmth. Branches arch overhead in soft curves, their silhouettes pulsing gently with each drift of breeze. The forest seems to breathe through them, wide and slow. It's okay to drift low and warm. The path beneath this canopy glows faintly, scattered with fragments of light caught in droplets of dew. They shimmer in soft pulses, fading and brightening without rhythm. The glow is gentle enough to soothe the eyes, barely more than a suggestion of illumination. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It feels as though the forest has entered a state between waking and dreaming, where neither darkness nor light holds dominance. A liminal hour shaped by the cooling air, the settling leaves, the slow hush of branches. It's okay to drift. A calm loop begins with the stillness. The first truth drifts into the moment. Some forests create their own light, subtle glows from tiny organisms resting on bark and leaf, forming halos too soft to disturb the night. It is a calm, almost invisible radiance. The second truth follows like a quiet brush of wind. Tree canopies can reflect faint sky glow downward, spreading it across the forest floor like a thin layer of dusk, even in full night. A spark of curiosity shimmers through the branches, soft and harmless. The forest settles deeper into its glow. The branches shift leaves, brushing against one another with feather-like sounds. Every movement is hushed, rounded, free of harsh edges. The glow pulsing through the canopy rises and falls with long breaths. It's okay to drift warm and slow. A gentle warmth gathers along the path. Not heat, just a subtle comfort that settles across the shoulders and sinks downward through the body's imagined weight. It feels like lying beneath a warm blanket woven from shadows and light. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The glow drifts through the branches like an unseen tide, rising along trunks in thin waves before receding back into the canopy. Forest light moves differently from daylight. It doesn't shine, it seeps. It settles into bark, into needles, into the thin creases between roots. The night absorbs it, then releases it again in softened hues. It's okay to drift. The path widens. Ahead, patches of soft illumination pool on the ground, forming circles of dusk light that overlap like ripples on still water. The air inside these pools feels slightly warmer, as if the forest gathers warmth into calm shapes. The scent of wood thickens sweet, dry, familiar. A calm loop forms along the edges of these pools. A fact rests gently along the ground. Certain leaves can capture the faintest traces of sky glow, reflecting it back into the forest in patterns shaped by their angles and curves. This reflection is quiet, almost imperceptible. Another truth follows softly. In some forests, tiny airborne particles released by trees scatter the faintest light, creating a subtle haze that looks like dew suspended in the air. A spark of curiosity shimmers briefly, then dissolves into calm. It's okay to drift slow and warm. The forest shifts into a kind of breathing made of sounds. A rustle here, a low creak there. The faint brush of leaves turning in unison as the breeze moves through. Each sound settles quickly back into silence. The glow deepens, stretching across the canopy like a soft quilt of light. The branches above become layered silhouettes, thin in some places, broad in others. Bark catches the faint glow, forming subtle streaks and contours like gentle strokes of paint. The forest looks carved from dusk. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Far ahead, a wider light appears, a soft haze, pale and steady, resting at the base of several converging trunks. The shape resembles fog, caught in still air, but warmer, almost pulsing. It is not bright enough to illuminate detail, only enough to create presence. It's okay to drift. As the path draws nearer, the haze expands into a low, warm mist that sits just above the forest floor. The air here feels thicker, as though infused with the slow breath of trees. Roots beneath the ground seem to hum, faintly transmitting warmth upward in slow waves. A new calm loop spreads across the mist. A fact drifts into the moment. Moisture rising from soil can catch faint light, forming thin veils that glow softly as temperatures shift through the night. It's a gentle merging of earth and air. Another truth follows lighter still. Certain forest floors reflect light differently depending on the season, creating subtle changes in color as leaves fall and decay into soil. A spark of curiosity glows like dew. It's okay to drift low and soft. The mist shifts slightly, revealing long arcs of shadow beneath branches that curve toward the light. The shadows move slowly, following the breeze in fluid, drifting gestures. The air cools across the face of thought, then warms again. A slow oscillation, a gentle tide. The forest feels alive in a way that requires no sound or movement. Alive through presence, through warmth, through the quiet memory held in every trunk. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The path begins to slope downward. The glow follows, settling into the hollow like water pouring through a narrow opening. The hollow fills with soft luminescence swirling around roots and pooling at their bases. The ground becomes a tapestry of drifting shadows. It's okay to drift. At the center of the hollow, a wide trunk rises larger than most. Its bark catches the glow in subtle patterns, lines, ridges, the faintest suggestion of spirals. Each pattern feels old, shaped by seasons layered across centuries. The trunk becomes a calm axis around which the night arranges itself. A calm loop forms around this great trunk. A gentle fact appears. Tree bark can trap warmth through the night, releasing it slowly into the surrounding air as temperatures fall. It is the forest's quiet way of sharing heat. Another truth rests behind it. Even in complete darkness, leaves continue. Slow internal shifts, carrying the memory of daylight deep within their cells. A soft spark of curiosity flickers and fades. It's okay to drift warm and low. The glow deepens. The hollow becomes a bowl of soft illumination, shadows curling around its edges like smoke. Branches sway in rhythms, shaped by the cooling of roots beneath the ground. The air thickens with stillness, turning the hollow into a resting place for drifting thought. The great trunk stands in the center, like a patient anchor, catching every shimmer of glow as it rises and falls. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Light gathers at the base of the hollow, forming a dim pool that moves with each slow breath the forest takes. It climbs the trunk in faint streaks, slips back down, gathers again. The motion is tidal, unhurried, comforting. It's okay to drift. The branches above the hollow form a low dome of silhouettes. Each leaf casts a small shadow that merges with others until the entire canopy becomes one continuous field of soft darkness. Occasional glimmers break through when the breeze moves a single branch. These glimmers feel like thoughts drifting just before sleep begins. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The hollow grows warmer at its center, cooler at its edges. The temperature gradient feels like the breath of the forest, warm on the inhale, cool on the exhale. It balances the mind like a long, slow cradle. It's okay to drift low and warm. A final calm loop settles into this warm gradient. A soft fact arrives, formed from the night's breath. Moisture in the air often condenses on leaves at night, creating dew that glows faintly when touched by the forest's ambient light. This becomes a gentle shimmer. Another truth unfolds, like quiet cloth. Some tree crowns funnel faint light downward in narrow beams, creating subtle columns of brightness that reach the forest floor. A spark of curiosity touches the edge of awareness, then dissolves into the hollow. The glow softens to a faint pulse. The hollow becomes a resting bowl of light and shadow. The air moves slowly, drifting through the branches in low currents. The forest settles everything light breath, stillness, into a unified calm. It's okay to drift, warm, low, slow, into the soft drift of forest light. It rises again, almost imperceptibly, the forest taking in another long, slow inhalation. The glow in the hollow dims and softens, drifting back into the branches as though absorbed by the quiet. Light becomes a memory rather than a presence. Darkness returns warm and welcoming, settling over roots and soil like a heavy blanket of dusk. It's okay to drift low and slow. The canopy above thickens as branches weave tighter together, closing gaps that once allowed faint sky glow through. Their silhouettes blend into a single, continuous shape, textured and deep. Leaves settle into their cool positions unmoving, except when brushed by a breeze too gentle to feel. The breeze circulates through the forest in long, winding currents that echo the slow rhythm of night. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The forest breathes through thousands of tiny spaces, the unseen lungs of trees, opening and closing in a rhythm older than memory. This breath is not a sound, not a movement, more a shift in density, as if the air thickens on the inhale and lightens on the exhale. It moves across the body of the forest like a wave of softness. It's okay to drift. The hollow rises into a gentle path leading deeper between trunks. Each step of awareness lowers itself into warmth, sinking like roots, easing into soil. The ground feels cushioned, shaped by decades of fallen needles and leaves that have blended into a quiet foundation. The forest floor holds the weight of centuries, yet yields softly under the slightest imagined touch. A calm loop begins with this softness. A gentle fact drifts into place. Trees spend the night drawing moisture upward through their trunks, sending slow currents of water toward the highest leaves, even while the world sleeps. This upward motion is steady, patient, continuous. Another truth follows faint as a shifting shadow. At night, leaves release small amounts of moisture back into the air, forming gentle pockets of coolness that drift between branches like invisible clouds. A spark of curiosity rises, then dissolves into the quiet. It's okay to drift warm and low. The path narrows into a corridor, shaded by overlapping boughs. Here, the air cools noticeably, brushing across skin, like the memory of wind. The forest feels deeper, more enclosed, wrapped in shadow and scent. The scent grows thick with the warmth of bark, the softness of moss, the faint sweetness of sap. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The corridor widens again, revealing a long stretch of forest that leans gently to the left. Trees grow at angles, shaped by centuries of soft winds, forming a natural curve along the landscape. Their trunks bend their roots, adjust their branches arc in quiet coordination. The entire slope seems to tilt with a slow, graceful gesture. It's okay to drift. A new, calm loop forms at this slope. A soft fact rests on the air. Some slanted trees grow stronger on the side, facing downhill, thickening their wood to hold themselves in balance through seasons and storms. This adaptation is silent, almost invisible. Another truth arrives gently. Forest air holds warmth longer than open air, creating temperature layers that drift upward and downward through branches like slow tides. A small spark of curiosity flickers, then fades. It's okay to drift low and slow. The slope becomes a long, sweeping arc that carries the forest forward like a wave frozen in time. Leaves rustle in small clusters overhead, forming soft patterns of sound that travel through the canopy in ripples. The sound moves like breath, expanding, contracting, expanding again. The forest's exhale is long enough to quiet the mind completely. The inhale folds into darkness, warm and steady. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. At the base of the slope, the path becomes wide and open. The trees spread out, leaving more space between their trunks, as though offering a room to rest. The air changes again, slightly warmer at the center, cooler along the edges where shadows settle. The branches form gentle curves overhead, creating the impression of a vast chamber shaped entirely by wood and silence. It's okay to drift. The chamber feels ancient. Its borders are softened by age, and the forest inside moves with the slowest possible breath. Every trunk stands like a column, carved by time, its bark holding faint patterns that catch any lingering glow. The ground slopes downward in subtle gradients, forming a shallow bowl that cradles sound and softens movement. A calm loop settles into this bowl. A gentle fact rests inside it. At night, trees slow their internal rhythms, shifting into modes of conservation that allow them to rest in long, quiet stretches. This rest is deep and warm. Another truth follows drifting along branches. The night air inside forests can be several degrees warmer than the air outside, held close by foliage that forms a natural insulator. A spark of curiosity warms briefly, then slips away. It's okay to drift warm and soft. The chamber feels like a place where thought becomes lighter, edges blur, time begins to stretch. The mind moves without direction, wandering gently through shadows that guide more than the path beneath. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The center of the chamber holds a cluster of trunks that grow so closely together, their roots intertwine beneath the ground. The closeness forms a natural archway, broad and low, as though shaped by the weight of years, pressing upward into new growth. The air beneath the arch is cool and slightly damp, carrying the scent of deep soil. It's okay to drift. The arch leads to a narrow ridge where the forest rises again. The ridge is soft, with moss thick and springy beneath the weight of thought. Each imagined step sinks slightly, releasing faint pockets of moisture that scent the air. Birds may have perched here earlier in the day, but the night holds no movement. Only the echo of presence remains. A calm loop drifts through this ridge. A fact glows gently. Some forests generate their own airflow, warm air rising within, and cool air descending along outer edges, creating subtle breezes that never reach the ground. This movement is continuous. Another truth drifts downward. Tree crowns can trap rising warmth, releasing it back into the forest in slow pulses that mimic breath. A spark of curiosity rises, then floats away. It's okay to drift low and slow. At the top of the ridge, the forest opens into an overlook without edges. Darkness stretches outward like a deep ocean of trees. The canopy fills the horizon, curving in gentle waves shaped by the terrain. Shadows blend into an unbroken field of calm, extending far beyond sight. The air grows still. The breeze fades into breath. The night deepens around the overlook like a cradle. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It's here that sound becomes touch, a low hum beneath the earth, a vibration through the roots, a soft echo rising from the canopy. The forest has entered its quietest hour, the point in night where everything slows into one continuous exhale. It's okay to drift. The overlook narrows into a rounded hill, soft and low. The top is covered in thick moss that muffles every sound, creating a space where silence feels layered and deep. The moss seems to hold warmth, as though storing it from thousands of days beneath the Sunday. A calm loop forms in this warmth. A gentle fact arrives. Some mosses glow faintly in darkness, releasing the tiniest hints of light after long hours of absorbing the day. It is an ancient glow. Another truth follows softly. In winter, the forest's breath slows even more, conserving heat beneath thick layers of snow and leaf. A spark of curiosity warms briefly, then dissolves. It's okay to drift warm and low. The hill curves downward into a wide plain lined with tall trunks spaced evenly apart. This forest geometry calms the mind, offering rhythm without thought. Branches above form repeating patterns that soothe in their familiarity. The plain feels endless, stretching into darkness like a soft dream. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The forest shifts into deeper silence. Even the breeze stops moving through the leaves. Only the slow settling of temperature remains falling across the canopy in gentle waves. Shadows deepen into warm shapes. The plain becomes a vast field of calm. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The night wraps itself around the plain, held by the breath of thousands of trees. Each trunk stands as an anchor, grounding the dark. Each branch rests in silence. Each leaf sinks into stillness. It's okay to drift, warm, low, slow, beneath the breath of the quiet canopy. It settles again deeper than before, as if the night has folded itself into a softer layer around the forest. The wide plain behind becomes a quiet field of memory, and only the present breath of trees remains. Trunks rise everywhere, straight, angled, curved, each one holding the sky in its own slow, patient way. The canopy above feels thicker, now woven tightly from shadows and faint glimmers of forest light. It's okay to drift low and warm. The trunks nearest the path stand like ancient pillars, their bark softened by darkness until each groove becomes a blur. Touch becomes suggestion rather than texture. Even the thought of contact feels muted, cushioned by the forest's gentle gravity. Roots disappear beneath soil in long, unbroken lines, creating a sense of being held from below. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The air between trunks moves slowly, sliding from one pocket of warmth into another. It feels thick enough to rest in, thin enough to drift through without effort. This is where the forest begins to feel like a single body, warm in its center, cool at its edges, breathing in wide, slow cycles. It's okay to drift. A calm loop slides into place beneath the canopy. A soft fact glows gently. Some trunks can store hundreds of gallons of water beneath their bark, holding it quietly through dry seasons. The image is simple water, resting in stillness. Another truth follows in a whisper. Bark patterns can reflect faint light differently depending on their age, creating subtle shifts in tone across the forest surface. A small spark of curiosity rises, then dissolves. It's okay to drift warm and low. The trunks grow taller as the path descends into a shallow dip. Here the forest gathers heat from the day, releasing it in thin waves that rise along the bark. These waves feel like the softest currents of warmth brushing across the edges of awareness. Nothing sharp, nothing bright, just thermal drift shaped by patience. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. In this dip, the trees grow closer, their trunks forming a loose ring around a patch of lightly glowing soil. The glow is faint, almost dreamlike, hinting at moisture held just below the surface. The scent grows sweeter wood warmed by darkness, moss deepening its color, leaves steeped in quiet. It's okay to drift. A new calm loop rises from the soil. A fact rests like dew. Tree trunks expand slightly at night, absorbing microscopic amounts of moisture while temperatures fall. The expansion is so slow, it can't be felt. Another truth follows. In certain climates, trunks grow thicker near their bases to help hold the tree steady through centuries of wind. A tiny spark of curiosity warms the moment, then drifts into silence. It's okay to drift slow and warm. The dip levels out, merging into a corridor of trees spaced with gentle symmetry. Their trunks align in soft patterns, rows and diagonals, that feel natural, unarranged, yet innately calming. Symmetry relaxes the mind, guiding thought downward, like water pouring into a still pool. The forest becomes a soft chamber of vertical lines. Shadows stretch across the ground in long, gentle strokes. Every movement is slowed by the night. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The trunks rise into darkness so complete that the canopy is no longer visible, only sensed like a distant ceiling made of breath. Each trunk feels rooted not just in soil, but in quiet itself. They anchor the darkness, giving shape to the night. It's okay to drift. Another calm loop forms along this corridor. A soft fact settles into the air. Some forests grow trunks so close together that they create natural windbreaks, calming breezes into gentle currents. This softens the night in slow gradients. Another truth follows lighter still. The thickness of a trunk can tell the story of its years. Broad trunks tracing centuries, thin trunks marking decades. A spark of curiosity shimmers briefly. It's okay to drift warm and low. The corridor narrows until the trunks feel almost like walls shaping a long, continuous passageway. Sound becomes softer here, almost padded, as though the forest intended to cushion every breath. The scent of bark grows richer, mixing with the coolness of distant roots. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The night air lowers itself around the corridor, pressing lightly like a warm blanket. Shadows blend into one another, until every edge softens into an unbroken field of calm. The trunks become pillars in a dream, steady and unmoving. The world feels slower, deeper, quieter. It's okay to drift. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. It deepens as the corridor narrows, darkness gathering like a soft tide against the trunks. The bark loses definition, melting into long, vertical shadows that flicker with the faintest hints of motion. Nothing moves sharply here. Everything drifts, bends, softens. It's okay to drift low and warm. The path beneath the canopy becomes smoother, shaped by countless seasons of fallen leaves blending into one quiet surface. Each imagined step sinks slightly into that softness, releasing the scent of earth, warmed by centuries of rest. A faint mist hovers just above the ground, brushing the ankles of thought with cool, silky currents. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The trunks grow taller as the corridor stretches into a deeper chamber. In this chamber, the light becomes thin, almost fluid, sliding between trunks in delicate ribbons. It collects in hollows and pools beneath low roots, creating faint halos around the bases of trees. It's okay to drift. A calm loop gathers along the edges of the chamber. A soft fact rises. Trees release small amounts of warmth through their bark at night, creating gentle microclimates that envelope insects and moss. This warmth is subtle, steady. Another truth settles behind it. In old forests, trunks store the memory of sunlight as slow heat radiating it back in thin waves long after day has passed. A spark of curiosity glows softly, then fades. It's okay to drift warm and slow. The chamber opens slightly, revealing a pattern of trunks spaced in wide arcs like ribs curving around a quiet heart. Each arc of wood seems to lean inward, forming a shelter of calm. The branches above remain invisible, but their presence creates a textured weight in the air, a roof of shadows resting on breath. The stillness settles into the skin of awareness. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The mist grows denser in the center of the chamber, rising in slow curls that twist around the trunks. They glow faintly, where the light catches them, thin strokes of silver drifting through the air. The curls thicken, then thin again, never repeating the same shape twice. It's okay to drift. A new calm loop rests in the mist. A gentle fact descends. Moist air near the base of trunks cools faster than the canopy, creating soft gradients that drift upward like invisible spirals. These spirals shape the movement of scent and temperature. Another truth joins it. Some trunks narrow at their center and widen near roots, forming natural funnels that guide stormwater deeper into soil. A spark of curiosity warms, then dissipates. It's okay to drift low and warm. The trunks thicken as the chamber deepens. Their bases widen, creating soft mounds around the roots, natural cushions of earth raised by time. Leaves have gathered in gentle piles around these mounds, forming quiet beds of softness where sound disappears. The scent of wood becomes richer, warm, and faintly sweet. It blends with the coolness of moist soil, forming a fragrance that feels slow and grounding. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Ahead, the chamber narrows again, forming a long, dipping passage where the trunks press closer together. Their shadows merge into a single dark ribbon that stretches across the ground. The air here is cooler, calmer, deeper. It's okay to drift. A calm loop settles into the dipping passage. A fact rises gently. Certain forests shift the direction of their breezes at night as temperatures fall, causing cool air to flow downward through trunks in slow, predictable streams. It is a quiet river of temperature. Another truth follows. Bark can trap moisture through the night, holding dew against the trunk until dawn begins to warm it again. A soft spark of curiosity glows, then fades. It's okay to drift warm and slow. The passage lowers into a hollow, lined with dark shapes of roots rising from the ground. They curve like bent ribs, forming soft arches that cradle the path. The air beneath these arches grows thicker, like warm breath caught beneath blankets. Every movement is softened by the cool drift of mist. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. In the hollow, the trunks seem taller than anywhere else. They rise straight up, disappearing into darkness, without a trace of branches. It feels like standing beneath a cathedral, carved not from stone, but from time itself. The stillness of this space presses lightly on the body of thought. It's okay to drift. Another calm loop emerges. A gentle fact settles like dusk. Some forest hollows remain several degrees warmer than the surrounding land, held in place by the density of trunks and slow release of heat. This warmth forms night-long pockets of calm. Another truth follows in a thin whisper. Even in deep darkness, the inner layers of bark continue to move, expanding and contracting with changes in humidity. A spark of curiosity glimmers, then dissolves. It's okay to drift warm and low. The hollow begins to rise again, lifting the path toward a slope where trunks lean slightly uphill. Their shadows stretch long and smooth across the ground. blending into one continuous blanket of darkness. The air thins as elevation increases, becoming cooler, quieter, more still. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The slope widens as it rises. The trunks spread apart until the chamber becomes a broad, open hall of shadow and breath. Every sound is softened by the height of the canopy and the depth of the night. The forest settles into a softer register, warm, slow, dissolving. It's okay to drift low, warm, slow, into the place where trunks become shadow. It deepens into a slope, shaped by centuries of quiet. The soft rise beneath the forest feels like a wave frozen in wood, and soil a swell of earth, holding the weight of thousands of trunks. Their shadows stretch long and smooth, lying over one another, until individual shapes disappear. Only darkness remains, layered warm, unhurried. It's okay to drift low and warm. The slope's air is cooler at the top, sliding gently across the skin of awareness, like a low cloud drifting through branches. The canopy above shifts in slow arcs, not enough to disturb the night, just enough to remind that even stillness moves. Faint rustles rise from high leaves, falling through layers of darkness, like whispers losing their shape. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. At the crest of the slope, the forest opens into a wide basin, not a clearing, nothing empty, only a shallow bowl where trunks spread farther apart, giving the night room to settle. The ground here is softer, padded with decades of fallen needles that form a thick, quiet layer underfoot. A faint, earthy sweetness hangs beneath the canopy, deep and warm. It's okay to drift. A calm loop gathers at the basin's edge. A gentle fact settles into the moment. Some forests release more moisture at night than during the day, creating subtle fogs that hover low to the ground in warm seasons. The fog isn't cold. It holds the memory of sunlight. Another truth follows behind it. Shallow dips like this one often collect warm pockets of air, forming microclimates where plants grow slower and softer. A spark of curiosity warms, then fades. It's okay to drift slow and warm. Trunks here appear thicker. Their bark glows faintly where its ridges catch soft gradients of forest light. The glow is dim, barely enough to trace the outline of each groove. But the forest doesn't need brightness. It moves by warmth, by breath, by slow gravity. The basin's air thickens with quiet. Sound drops lower, becoming weighted slow wide. The forest seems to move closer, as though settling its branches around the bowl. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The ground slopes again downward, this time into a deeper hollow. This hollow feels older, warmer, heavier. The trunks press inward from all sides, forming a natural amphitheater where breath gathers in long, warm layers. Shadows move only when the air moves. It's okay to drift. A new calm loop forms in this hollow. A soft fact rises. Tree roots beneath deep hollows can reach tens of feet below the surface, drawing water from layers untouched by drought or cold. They anchor the forest into ancient earth. Another truth follows gently. Some hollows trap warmth, even in midwinter, creating refuges where mosses and tiny organisms survive the cold. A small spark of curiosity glimmers, then dissolves. It's okay to drift low and slow. The hollow breathes, with the forest warm on the inhale, cool on the exhale. The air moves like a tide across the ground, brushing against trunks in soft, rhythmic waves. Leaves rustle. In response, a sound so delicate It almost feels like touch. The forest begins to loosen at its edges. Darkness lies smoother. Shapes dissolve more easily. Thoughts drift into the forest's pace, unhurried, warm downward. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The center of the hollow holds a single trunk larger than the rest. Its roots spread outward in wide arcs, creating ridges that form gentle mounds around it. The mounds cradle pools of warm air, shifting slightly with each breath the forest releases. This trunk feels older than memory, older than story. It's okay to drift. Branches rise from its crown in spirals curving gently, as though shaped by long, slow winds. The spirals cast soft shadows that move over the ground like dark water. Each shift is slow, almost imperceptible. This slow motion becomes the forest's lullaby. A calm loop rests beneath the great trunk. A gentle fact settles like the weight of dusk. The inner wood of giant trees holds heat long after night falls, radiating it outward in soft pulses that warm the ground below. It is warmth shaped by centuries. Another truth follows softly. Large trunks can support entire ecosystems of moss insects, tiny ferns, each forming delicate layers of life on the bark. A spark of curiosity flickers, then fades into stillness. It's okay to drift warm and low. The hollow grows quieter still. A deep hum rises through the roots, not a sound, but a sensation, like the earth's breath reaching upward through layers of soil. The hum presses gently against awareness, grounding it in the slow pulse of the forest. The air warms, shadows deepen, everything softens. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Paths radiate from the hollow like spokes of a wheel. Each path curves gently shaped by the contours of land and the slow growth of roots over centuries. The forest offers no direction. Every path feels the same. Warm, quiet, old. It's okay to drift. You follow the nearest curve, not through movement, but through attention, relaxing into its arc. The path leads to a ridge where the canopy thins just enough for a faint wash of sky glow to fall through. The glow spreads across the ridge, like liquid dusk softening bark, warming shadows. The ridge widens. The forest breathes deeper. The night becomes heavier, thicker, warmer. A final calm loop for this part forms on the ridge. A soft fact arrives. Trees at the tops of ridges often grow shorter shaped by years of wind brushing gently across them. Their crowns bend in slow angles. Another truth drifts behind it. On warm nights, tree canopies release scents that travel downslope, guiding nocturnal animals through the forest. A faint spark of curiosity rises, then dissolves. It's okay to drift low and warm. The ridge curves downward into a small depression lined with soft earth. Here, the ground feels warmer than any place before a pocket of night holding heat in stillness. The air wraps around, thought like cloth, soaked in warmth. Trunks stand in widening arcs around the depression, their silhouettes leaning gently inward. Their shade feels dense, protective, steady. The forest rests in full silence now, nothing left to settle. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. The depression becomes a cradle of breath, shaped by the slow exhale of the forest. Warm air presses gently upward from the earth. Cool air drifts downward along the trunks. The balance between them creates a slow rocking motion. barely felt but steady like the forest cradling its own weight. It's okay to drift, low, warm, slow, into the place where the forest sleeps with the earth. It softens into a deeper dark as the small depression becomes a resting bowl of warmth and earth. Shadows smooth their edges. Even the faint glow that once drifted through branches settles lower, now barely more than a suggestion along the ridges of bark. The forest folds itself inward, drawing its long breath through leaves and roots and soil. It's okay to drift low and warm and slow. The air settles around the depression with a softness that feels almost liquid. Warm pockets rise from soil. Cool threads slip along the trunks. They weave together into a slow oscillation that rocks the space in gentle, steady motions. This rocking, barely perceptible, moves like the body of the forest, lowering itself into sleep. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The trunks around the depression lean subtly inward, forming a circle of shadow that feels protective and patient. Their silhouettes blur into one another until the forest resembles a single, continuous shape. Only breath remains wide, low, steady. It's okay to drift. A calm loop gathers. A quiet fact unfolds. Warm soil beneath old forests can release heat through the night, stored from sunlight that reached the canopy hours earlier. This warmth settles in layers, creating depth in the dark. Another truth follows gently. Some roots continue exchanging moisture with the soil even after midnight, moving tiny amounts of water in rhythms so slow they feel like the earth dreaming. A spark of curiosity flickers, then fades. It's okay to drift warm and low. The air thickens into a near stillness. The path that once led toward the ridge dissolves, leaving only the weight of night held between trees. The forest becomes a single thought, stretched across miles, one long, quiet exhale. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It grows darker around the trunks, not heavier, just smoother. Shapes evaporate into soft outlines. Bark loses detail and becomes part of the surrounding night. Every sound drops into a deeper register, settling beneath hearing, beneath thought, beneath effort. It's okay to drift. Somewhere above the canopy shifts once. A long, slow sigh of leaves rolls across the crowns, barely audible. The sigh spreads outward until the entire forest seems to loosen as one body. The night grows warmer. The air presses closer. A calm loop sinks into this warmth. A gentle fact rises from the shadow. Leaves cool themselves during the night, releasing thin currents of moisture that lower their temperature by a few degrees. The change is slow and calming. Another truth follows like a soft ripple. Tree crowns can trap pockets of warm air beneath them, shaping the flow of night breezes in gentle downward sweeps. A small spark of curiosity shimmers, then dissolves. It's okay to drift low and slow. At the center of the depression, the ground feels softer, almost cloud-like. Not airy, not empty, just softened by layers of fallen needles and centuries of quiet. The softness spreads outward through the forest, like warmth moving through fabric. A subtle rise and fall occurs beneath the earth, as if roots themselves are breathing. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. It becomes difficult to tell where forest ends and night begins. The air carries a subtle sweetness sap, resting in cooling bark, damp roots, releasing faint scents, soil shifting in its long sleep. The sweetness stretches across the clearing like a gentle veil. It's okay to drift. The trunks blur further. They lean, dissolve, reappear, as though the forest is passing through its own version of dreaming. Light pulses faintly along their surfaces. Not enough to reveal, only enough to remind. The night tilts into a new depth. A calm loop forms with this tilt. A soft fact drifts in. When temperatures drop, bark contracts in slow increments, creating faint, low creaks that ripple across forests like distant sighs. The forest releases itself piece by piece. Another truth follows behind it. In some forests, the night air contains particles released by leaves that cool the air more quickly than open land, forming drifting layers of temperature. A spark of curiosity glows dimly. It's okay to drift warm and slow. The depression sinks almost imperceptibly, not the land awareness itself. Edges soften. Thoughts move at the speed of leaves turning in no wind. The world becomes a field of muted sensation. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. Light fades, then returns, as a faint gradient across the ground. Mist settles over roots like resting cloth. Every inhale deepens the glow. Every exhale lifts it slightly. It becomes hard to tell whether the forest breathes with you or you with it. It's okay to drift. The night thickens until even the smallest sound is absorbed. Branches no longer creak, leaves no longer rustle. Only breath moves low, deep, soft. The softness moves across the forest like a tide with no beginning and no end. A calm loop rests in this tide. A quiet fact emerges. Deep roots can remain a few degrees warmer than surface soil through the night, holding heat like memory. The warmth travels upward in slow pulses. Another truth unfolds. Even without wind, tall canopies can sway, nearly invisibly, as temperatures shift along their heights. A tiny spark of curiosity fades. It's okay to drift low and warm. The forest now feels like a single being. Trunks, leaves, soil, air, all moving in one long descent into rest. Borders vanish, shapes melt. Night flows beneath night. Everything becomes breath. You breathe softly, and the universe exhales through you. The depression widens into a slow, gentle slope. It carries awareness downward like water slipping along bark. The slope is soft, warm, lined with shadows that move like drifting fabric. Roots curve along its sides like quiet guides. It's okay to drift. The slope empties into a cradle-like bowl, even softer than the one before. The air is thicker, here warmer, as though held in place by the gravity of trees. Every breath sinks deeper. Every exhale warms the space around it. Shadows fall like blankets. A final calm loop begins. A soft fact rests against the bowl. Forests can hold warmth long after nightfall, especially in their deepest hollows, where wind rarely reaches. This warmth creates nature's gentlest shelter. Another truth follows like breath, fading into sleep. The patterns of bark lines, ridges, curves store a trace of each year in thin layers hidden beneath the surface. A faint spark of curiosity glows, then dissolves. In the quiet between stars, you are remembered. It softens further. The bowl becomes a cradle. The cradle becomes warmth. The warmth becomes slow descent. Night merges with breath until there is no difference between forest and body darkness, and thought stillness and drifting. Everything lowers, everything loosens, everything fades into one warm field. It's okay to drift, low, warm, slow, into the quiet gravity of the forest beneath your breathing.